Hi guys, so I went to the first ever RuPaul's DragCon UK last weekend and I thought that I would just do a quick video kind of explaining my experience over the weekend because I had a VIP ticket, what that got me, kind of my experience and the process of meeting the queens there, as well as kind of my tips and tricks and kind of takeaways from the weekend. I know that I found these kinds of videos really helpful from LA and New York before I went, so I thought I would just kind of add into the mix now that we've experienced the UK one, and we can take it away from next year if it comes back. I'm assuming it will because it was so popular this year, and if they don't upgrade the venue next year I will be very surprised about that. So I don't live in London, so I got there the night before and stayed over so that I could get there early the next morning. Like I said, I had a VIP ticket, and VIP basically meant that we could check in from 7:30 in the morning, and our VIP hours started at 9, whereas everyone else's hours check-in started at 9 and their actual DragCon hours started at 10. So yeah, I got to the venue at about 7 AM. I hadn't intended on getting there that early. I'd intended on going and getting breakfast beforehand, but the place I was going to go and get breakfast down the road didn't open till 8 on a Saturday. And I saw that there were people already waiting outside, so I was like, okay, it's only like half an hour until we get let in, I might as well just wait here. We ended up not getting let in to even register until 9:15, so that's over an hour delay because they were delayed setting things up inside. If you have any kind of social media, you'll have seen the absolute storm that was caused with kind of the queues outside. They sold over the capacity. There were people left waiting outside who didn't get in. So yeah, I think that kind of had a roll-on effect throughout the day. So yeah, like I said, we ended up getting let into registration at about 8:45, and that was just VIPs. I don't think general even got in until like just before 10 in the end. So they kind of queued us all outside at first. VIP had their own separate queue, and then they took us in around the front of the venue into registration. There was only meant to be one VIP registration booth. They ended up opening all the GA queues for people to register in so they could get people through quicker. Once you got in, we got our badge. This was the first thing at registration. So this was the VIP badge for London. It's signed by RuPaul, and then as you went inside, they would hand you your VIP bags at kind of a table, but because I was one of the first people in, they hadn't kind of finished doing the VIP bags yet. So the idea was they would have them all, they were just like pink, like paper bags. So they kind of hole punched your ticket, your pass, to say that you'd received your VIP bag and your t-shirt. I ended up getting 2 lots of certain merch in my VIP bag because they hadn't set them up properly yet. So I'll show you what we got. So first thing, I ended up with 2 of these. I gave one away to someone and I've kept one. Is a water bottle. So it just says charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent on it. Like I said, I ended up with 2 of these. I gave one away to someone. It does have kind of like a keychainy thing on the top, but I took it off because it's loud and I don't need it. The second thing we got was the RuPisa badge, which again, I ended up with 2 lots of this and gave one away to someone because they were selling a different version of it at the World of Wonder booth, but they sold out on the Saturday. So someone wanted one and I said, oh, I've got a spare one, you can have my spare VIP one, that's fine. And then, I don't know if everyone got one of these, but it was in my bag. I don't know whether they just ran out of them or if they only had a certain amount or if we just weren't meant to get one in the first place, but I got a Pop Beauty lip topper. So it's like a metallic red, just kind of overlay for your lips. But yeah, like I said, I know one of my friends had VIP and she did not get one of these in her bag. So I don't know if someone just made a mistake or what. But anyway, I'm not going to turn down free makeup, so yeah, that was in there. And then finally in the VIP bag, there was the t-shirt, which to be honest, I didn't even look at until like a week after I got back, which was yesterday. Yeah, so it just says RuPaul's DragCon UK VIP 2020, which, to be fair, we got a lot more in VIP than I expected because we weren't meant to get, or it wasn't listed that we were going to get the water bottle, it wasn't listed that we were going to get the Pop Beauty thing. We knew we were going to get the badge and we knew we were going to get the t-shirt. but that was it. So when we got let in past there, they held us at some ropes at the back of the floor before they let us onto the floor. We were already running late at this point, but I think they just wanted to get all the VIPs in first before they started doing that. So I had a plan of action for the Saturday. I didn't really for the Sunday, but on the Saturday I knew my priorities were I wanted to meet Adore Delano and I wanted to meet Miss Cracker, who were both at the same booth. So basically, Holy Tea, who are a promoter in the UK, had rented out 4 booth spaces. So they had, apart from the World of Wonder and RuPaul booths, they had the biggest booth at the convention. So at the front of it, which was like 2 booths worth, was where they would sell the merch. One side of the back was a photo studio that was just being used for Miss Cracker. It was just her booth all day. And then the other side was a photo booth that they were switching queens out of. So they had Adore Delano, they had Meatball from Dragula, they had Yuha, they had Victoria's Secret, who is an Irish queen and one of their like resident touring queens. And they had Danny Beard there, who is like a local queen to me, who would switch out all day, and they had separate kind of slots. Most of them you could just kind of rock up to and get into their meet and greet. However, Adore was only there at 1 PM and 3 PM each day. So they sold wristbands for her in advance each day. They were £40, which seems like a lot, but you got an entire merch bag with it as well, which they gave you after you met Adore. So my plan was to basically just book it to Holy Tea's booth, buy my Adore wristband because I knew they would sell out, and then wait there for Miss Cracker, because I figured if I was going to meet her, the best chance that I had was during VIP hours. So that's exactly what I did. We got let in at about, I want to say 9:20, so we were running a bit late, but we did end up getting our full hour in the end. They just let us go till 10:20. So me and there was a few other people in VIP who had the same idea, went straight to Holy Tea. Bought my wristband, no problem. Got the first slot, the 1 PM slot, which is the one that I wanted. And then I went to another staff member who was selling them and who was selling merchandise and said, can I buy Miss Cracker merch now? Can I just go and wait by her booth for her to arrive? Because we didn't actually know what time she was arriving. And they're like, yeah, they can do that. So I ended up buying. My friend wanted me to bring him back 2 pins. So that's what I did. So the first one, it just says Miss Cracker on it. And the second one is Miss Cracker's face and says it's time for dinner on it. So Miss Cracker's minimum for me and her was £10, which was the price of 1 pin, but he wanted 2, so I just got him both pins, and that was my ticket to meet Miss Cracker. So we asked the staff member, did they know what time she was going to be arriving there, and they said, oh no, but she's meant to be here at some point during the morning. So I was like, oh, okay, there was no one else waiting there. I thought I'll go and walk around and then come back and see if she's there. As I was walking off, I walked past another booth and Miss Cracker walked past me on the other side. So I was like, okay, and just followed her back to the booth. And there were 2 people waiting there already. So she got set up, I just went and waited behind the 2 people that were already there, and I'd met her within like 5 minutes of being there, which was great because I thought that was going to take me, if not most of the morning, at least most of VIP today. Yeah, there was a mother and daughter who went before me, and then I went in. She was so nice. I said thank you for getting into drag so early for us. She was really appreciative of that. Caitlin was taking the photos. Yeah, so first queen I met was Miss Cracker, super nice, great way to start the day. We came out of there and I had like no other plans for the morning really. So we just kind of wandered around the back of Holy Tea's booth and found Davina's booth. Now I knew I wanted to see Davina at some point during the weekend, but I didn't know when. I hadn't really planned on a time of going and seeing her. I was just going to go and see her when I was free. Most of the queens actually did do VIP lines, which was great because I know there's been some controversy in the US where I think it's Elite Queens, for their queens, have done fast passes over VIP, so you had to pay for a fast pass. There was none of that for us, so that was great. Yeah, so Davina's minimum to meet her was £10. So I bought a print. I waited like 5 minutes to meet her. It was great. She is one of my local queens. I've loved Davina for years, even before she was on Drag Race. I've seen her quite a lot. So I was like happy to go and support her at her booth. Her husband was the one who was serving everyone at the booth, who I've met a few times before. He used to own a bar in Manchester, and that's what we were talking about. So that was really nice. So also, just like props to Davina for the amount of travel that she went through that weekend. She's in a touring production of a pantomime. So she had a show in Manchester on the Friday night, got the first train down on the Saturday morning to be able to make it to DragCon, spent from 9 AM till 2 PM at DragCon, got back on a train up to Manchester to do another show that night, got on a 3 AM coach to get back down to London for the Sunday of DragCon. Like, that is another level. Like, props to her, honestly, for doing that amount of travel. Yeah, so we were talking about that. And she signed my print. She said destroy those frocks on it because it's her frock destroyers outfit. Love that. Yeah, so I had some friends who were general admission, so obviously they weren't going to get in until after VIP had finished. So I still had some VIP time left after that. VIP got an exclusive performance from Vivian, so we decided to go and watch that on the main stage because we didn't really want to walk around much anymore. So we did that. She did about 3 or 4 songs, so it was basically just up until general admission got let in that she was on the stage. I think they actually cut her short because they were running late. But yeah, so we got to watch her. So after that, it was the Queen's Walk. So I wasn't particularly bothered about being in a good spot for the Queen's Walk. There was a panel that I wanted to watch that was immediately after that, so I decided to go upstairs onto the balcony of the venue and watch over from there because the panels were at the back of the balcony. So I did that, and it actually ended up being like a really good view. Like, we could see over everyone, we could see the stairs. There was a massive staircase in the middle of it, of the room where the pink carpet went up, so we watched them kind of over there. And then after that I went straight to queue for the Wait What panel, which was with Something Wong and Angina, but Nova and Olympia from Novimpia were moderating the panel. And basically, bit of a backstory, me and my friends who I went with are all patrons of theirs. We met because we're patrons of theirs. So we knew we wanted to go and watch them, we wanted to go and see their booth, everything. So we went straight there. I saved a seat for one of my friends because she was in the queue outside. She literally just got in like a minute before the panel was starting. The panel was really fun. It was a lot longer than I expected. I thought they were only meant to be half an hour, but it went for a full hour, so that was great. We came out of that panel and we went straight to Nova and Olympia's booth because I had said to some friends that I would pick up some merch for them because they had an exclusive DragCon t-shirt. So I got one for me, and then I got like 4 other friends them as well. So this is what it looks like. It just has both of them on and it says Novimpia on. It's really cute. They actually sold out of them by the end of the weekend, so I'm really happy for them about that. And then they did a bundle as well, so you got a print and a sticker with it. So I just decided to get the bundle because it ended up as really good value, and I really like the print. It's really cute. But yeah, so they went at their booth because they had I think they were just late coming out of the panel, but it was getting close to when I needed to go back down to meet Adore. So we kind of just got the merch and then went so that I could make my 1 PM Adore meet and greet. There wasn't that many people in the queue when I got there. We got there about 15 minutes early. So yeah, she had a VIP line. Even though it was wristbanded, there was a VIP line, so they'd take like 2 VIP for every 2 general admission, which ended up speeding the process up, which was great. Every time I meet Adore, she always tells me I have hair like her mum's, and it's the cutest thing. She's so lovely. Like, I love her so much. She's always so nice to meet. After we met her, they gave you your merch bag, and it says it's from her tour that she did in March. It says a pizza me takeaway. And we got a lot more in this bag than I expected, to be honest. So we got a whole set. I'm not going to take these out because there's quite a few of them, of like postcards. There's different looks on there, so there's like her season 6 looks on there, there's some later ones on there, but yeah, there's probably about 10 of them or so that's really good. We got a full set of prints, which I didn't get her to sign, but I'm not really bothered. So we got like 4 prints, which when you consider that other queens were selling them for like £10 each and the bag was £40, I think that's really good. And then we got 2 stickers. One of them is like Adore's face on a slice of pizza. And the other one, I love this one so much. It's just like a really grungy one. It says Adore on it and it's got her on it. I love that one. And then finally we got a set of pins, which one's just her eating pizza and the other one says Adore Delano, pizza me. So they're really cute. So I think for £40 and to meet a door as well, that actually wasn't too bad with the amount of merchandise we ended up getting for it. So after we had met Adore, I met back up with my friends because they were waiting outside Adore's little booth for me, and we went back upstairs to see Olympia. Super sweet, I love them. They're great. If you've not watched their YouTube channel, go and watch it, they're great. So after we'd seen them, my friend Kat really wanted to go and have a cigarette, and I don't smoke, so she went out to go and do that. And I decided, because I was the only one out of us who wanted to go meet Layla, that I would go and meet Layla McQueen at her booth. Her line wasn't long at all. She didn't have a VIP line, but to be honest, she didn't need one, so it was fine. She also didn't have a minimum to meet her, which I thought was really cool. She put her PayPal link over the booth so that if you wanted to tip her, you could, but paying to meet her wasn't a requirement. But she did something really interesting, which was she had a Polaroid camera, and for £10 you would get a Polaroid and a load of stickers off her. So I gave some of the stickers away, but this is what they look like. I have 2 left. I think she was selling them as like 3 for a £5 or otherwise, which I think is quite good as well. And then I actually got her last Polaroid. The film ran out after that, and she signed it. She also took a load of selfies. I think my selfies with Layla were my favourite pictures of the weekend. The lighting is so good on them. Yeah, so that was really nice. She was really sweet. I love her whole aesthetic. Like, it's really kind of dark, but like crystally. Like, I just really like that. And Layla was the last queen that we ended up meeting that day. But afterwards, I met back up with my friends after they'd been for a cigarette to go and meet Sophie Anderson, who is just an icon, a queen. And Craig McNeil, who runs the Whimsically Volatile podcast that Cassie used to be on. So we met them. They were at the sign-in table, but they were taking pictures. We ended up talking to Craig for quite a while because me and Kat both listen to Whimsically Volatile. We have for a while. So that was really nice to get to talk to him. And then after that, I think we just kind of walked around a bit and then left. I think we went back up to Nova and Olympia's booth, and I bought, so Charmaine was with them running their booth. So I bought one of Char's prints because she brought some and she wrote a really cute message on it, which I love. And then after that, yeah, I went and sat down. There was only like 45 minutes left of that day. So I went and sat down for a bit, went and met up with my friends again. And then we left about 15 minutes early because I wanted to go back to my hotel to drop my stuff off because I was going to see Waitress on the West End that night, and I had like 3 bags with me. I didn't want to take it with me. Yeah, so the first day I thought, even though all of the problems they had getting people in, which is like, if you didn't get in, I am so sorry. There is no excuse for that. They should not have sold more tickets than there was capacity at the venue. There's a rumour going around now that they were meant to be in the bigger hall, which is where if you went to Drag World in summer, that was at. But they got put in the smaller one by mistake, which is why they'd oversold the tickets. But yeah, there was still no excuse for them to, you know, not be getting people in. It's just ridiculous who paid. So on the Sunday, I got there a bit later. Basically, anybody who didn't get in on Saturday got told that if they brought their ticket back the next day, they would get priority entry on Sunday, which I wasn't sure if that meant priority over general admission and Sunday tickets, or they would get in with the VIPs at 9 and get the extra hour. So I decided to get there at 8, which was an hour before. And I was in about the same place as I was when I got there for registration on Saturday. I was about 30th in the queue or something. But they actually let us inside at 8:15 to wait for the floor to open, which I thought was great, because at least then we were out of the cold. So yeah, they queued us at, well, I say queued, they let us into kind of the back where the barriers and the tape were that we had waited at just behind the booths the day before to get in. Yeah, we got let in there at about 8:15 and then we just waited. They took a few people off who were fans of Mayhem Miller to go and watch her do a makeup tutorial, but I decided not to do that because I knew there was people who were fans of her more than I was, so I just didn't volunteer for it. So basically, like I said, I didn't have a specific plan for Sunday. My plan for Sunday was basically just anybody who I wanted to meet who I hadn't met on the Saturday, which I thought would end up being Miss Cracker, but obviously I met her within like 5 minutes of being in on the Saturday, so that was great. So that was like a big one crossed off. So my top 3 that I wanted to meet on the Sunday were Crystal, GGB and Morgan McMichaels. And then if I had time, I wanted to go meet Cheryl Hole and Blue Hydrangea, but their queues the day before had been insane. So I didn't want to risk kind of like missing the rest of the day to go and queue for one queen. However, Cheryl had tweeted out her schedule for the next day, which included being at a meet and greet in VIP hours, because they're not guaranteed to be there during VIP. It's at their discretion. So when I found that out, I was like, okay, I'm just going to go straight to Cheryl because I know she's going to be there and there's no guarantee of anyone else being there. So yeah, so they kind of slowly started dripping us in, so they held us like a bit further forward. So when we got moved a bit further forward, me and my friend went around to the very side of it because we knew that's where Cheryl's booth was, with the intention of just going straight there when we got let in. We actually ended up getting let in about 10 or 15 minutes early, so we got let in before 9, which was great. We just went straight to Cheryl's booth. She was still getting ready. She was putting her nails on as we got there, which was so funny. She was like, just give me a minute, girls, you know, I've got a trademark with my finger after the water challenge on Drag Race, which I thought was hilarious. So we bought merch there. Cheryl was a £20 minimum and I was only going to pick up one pin at first until they said that. So I ended up getting her 2 pins. I kind of wish I got a print instead of one of the pins, but I liked them both, so I just picked them both up. Before I kind of told myself that I was going to just stick to pins and prints from Queens because they were easier to carry back, they're easier to kind of store than t-shirts. And I actually stuck to that, apart from Nova and Olympia's t-shirt because it was limited edition for DragCon and I really wanted it. Yeah, so the first pin that I got was just Cheryl's look, which I really like. And then the second one, which I think might be my favourite pin of the entire con, it says, "I'm a fucking star." And it's got her in the confessionals on it, which is just so iconic. It's like pink and purple and glittery and I love it. So yeah, I was the first person to meet Cheryl on Sunday and she was so sweet. I did the same thing that I did for Miss Cracker and told her thank you for getting in drag so early for VIP. And she was like, "I'm so late, I wasn't even ready." I'm like, "It's not even 9 o'clock yet, you are not late." She was so lovely. Ophelia Love, who is also a London drag queen, was running her booth and she had tweeted out in the morning, "Can someone please bring me a brow pencil, preferably Anastasia's light brown because I've only got half eyebrows." So she was taking my photo for me. I was like, "Has anyone brought you a brow pencil yet?" She was like, "No, I'm fuming," but I didn't have one with me, otherwise I would have given it to her. I felt really bad for her. So after that, we decided to go upstairs to see if Morgan was at her booth because she usually gets there quite early, but we were even too early for her. So my friend who was actually doing merch for Novimpia was at their booth, so we went and talked to her because I felt so sorry for them. Basically, their booth was directly opposite Bianca Del Rio's and Bianca was only there for the Sunday because she's in a show on the West End, so she couldn't do Saturday. So I think they'd pre-sold some tickets for her on the Saturday, and then a lot of people, as soon as it opened on Sunday, just ran straight upstairs to her booth to go and get one. So the line ended up by the end of the day, or like by midday, was all the way down the top of the balcony and then all the way back. It doubled back across their booths and it was right in front of their booth. I felt so sorry for them that they were basically in the midst of that chaos. So we were talking about that, and then as we were talking about that, we saw Blue on the opposite side walking to her booth. So I was like, okay, if Blue's here, it was like halfway through VIP at this point. I was like, okay, Blue's here now, we might as well go meet her now. So we went straight over to her. Blue was a £25 minimum, which I think was the highest minimum that I paid over the weekend. But her stuff was so cute, I loved it. Her pins are so well made. So I got this pin from her. She had a few different styles of this one. And I didn't realise until I got home that she had signed the back of all of them, which I thought was really cute. And then I got a print from her as well because it was of her iridescent look and I really loved that. A lot of people on the Sunday really complimented my eyeshadow because I had, it's 8-bit from the Sugar Bill palette, but it's kind of a really unusual pale blue colour. It looks kind of purple in some lights. So I had a lot of compliments on it. So when I was talking about it's blue, I was like, "Oh yeah, I match your booth, like it's so cool." So she wrote "Mug Beat for the Gods" on my print, which I really appreciated because like getting a compliment from her on makeup is a big thing. I told her she was wearing like an iridescent fairy look that day and the day before, I told her I love that. She was like, oh, iridescent's my favourite colour because it's all of the colours, which I thought was so cute. So after we met Blue, I went back downstairs to see Crystal and Jujubee's booths were pretty much next to each other. So I went downstairs to see if either of them were at their booths yet, and Crystal was. And she only had a few people in her line because it was still VIP. So Crystal was a £20 minimum, so I decided to get her pins. Her pins came, so it's a pin and 2 kind of little badges, which I thought was good for £10. So you've got the pin that says fuck diamonds, try Crystal, and then just 2 little badges of like Crystal's looks. But I love these, I think they're so cool. Crystal was one of the ones that before the show there was only a couple that I didn't really know a lot about, obviously one being Scaredy and the other one was Crystal. And I saw her Meet the Queens thing and I wasn't really too keen, but then I watched this season and oh my god, I loved her. Like I thought she was incredible. The angle grinding, like she's so like out there, I love her. So I really wanted to meet her again that weekend. And then I also got her print. There's kind of a theme with the prints in that I went for all the pink ones with like iridescent looks on it. And she wrote Stay Sparkly on it because I had glitter on my eyes and it matched the crystals on her booth. She was so lovely as well. So then after that it was getting close to when general admission we're gonna start being let in. So I decided to just pick a lane and stay in it. So Jujubee wasn't at her booth yet, but there was about 10 people waiting there. So I went up to the person at the front and said, are you waiting for Jujubee? Do you know what time she's going to be here? And they were like, yeah, we're waiting for her, but we're not sure what time she's going to be here yet. So I was like, well, I might as well just get in the queue now because Jujubee didn't have a VIP line. So while it was like 10 VIPs in front of me, I was like, I might as well just wait. And we ended, I think that was the longest wait I had all weekend. We waited about half an hour and that was only because she wasn't at her booth. But when she came, she was so lovely. I've loved Jujubee for a while. Like she's definitely, apart from maybe Tatiana, she's my favourite from season 2. And I've never met, her and Layla were the only 2 that weekend that I'd never met before. So I really wanted to meet them. And when she came over to her booth, as her assistant was setting up, she kind of went down the queue, said hi to everyone, shook everyone's hand. She was so lovely. So she only had prints for sale and it was £20, but honestly, like, I would have paid anything to meet Juju. I love her. So I chose this one. And she took so many selfies with people. Like my camera roll is just full of them. She was doing like different poses. She was getting you to do different poses. Like she was so lovely. I loved her. So after I'd met Juju, well, my friend still hadn't got in yet because she'd woken up late and was still in the general admission queue to get in. So I just went back upstairs to Nova and Olympia's booth by myself. Because it was right opposite from Morgan's as well. So I was like, oh, at least if I go up here, I can see Morgan's booth as well. So I ended up going and talking to them for a while until my friend got in. Morgan was at her booth, and after I'd finished talking to Nova, I went over to ask if it was the end of the line, and the staff member at her booth said, yeah, it is, but she's going on a lunch break after this for an hour. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll come back in an hour. So I decided to go and look at the VIP lounge because the only time I'd been in there the day before was to go and get drinks for all of us because it was a significantly shorter queue than the bar downstairs. And the VIP booth is getting a lot of stick for what it was. Like, I don't know what people actually expected it to be, but there was more in there than I'd expected. Basically, a few of my friends had been to LA in 2017 and had told me that the VIP booth there just like was non-existent. It was like a bar with like 2 chairs in it, whereas this one, it was a bar. It's usually used as like a champagne bar or something. But there was more chairs in there. They had like big playing cards that were advertising the Las Vegas residency, which was great if you're in the UK. And they had a big Las Vegas sign. They had a backdrop that you could take photos in front of with a ring light. Like, it was fine for what it was. It did its purpose, which was to get away from the crowds. I ended up sat on the floor and it was fine. There was still plenty of space for everyone in there. I felt fine. It was great for what it was. So then when my friend texted me and told me she'd come in, it was basically the time that I could go back and meet Morgan anyway. So I went and met her and just got straight into Morgan's booth. Walked past the line for Bianca and Bagger, and oh my god, they were insane. There were so many people. I'm so glad I like Bianca. I've met her before, I've seen her a few times. I was not willing to compromise the day just to meet her, because that line was just like something else compared to most of the queens. If you were in general admission, probably had between, I don't know, like a ½ hour to 2 hour wait depending on who it was. I don't even want to know how long that queue was. But yeah, so we went to Morgan's booth. There wasn't many people there because she'd just come back from her break, so that was great. She was a £20 minimum, and she had prints that were £20 on their own, or if you bought a fan it was £25 for the bundle, and I thought, well, £25 for a fan as well is actually a really good deal. So I picked up a fan. I picked up this one, which is her gold All Stars promo look, which I loved. And then I got a print. It says, Hannah, great hair and great tits, Morgan. And then I think it says stay fierce at the bottom, but honestly I can't read that second word. But yeah, Morgan's lovely. I've met her before. We bonded over the fact that I'm half Scottish. I dropped my print in front of her, which was embarrassing because I thought she was going to go and grab it. But yeah, she's always so lovely to meet. Yeah, so after I met Morgan, it was probably like, I want to say like 1:45-ish. So we kind of walked around a bit more upstairs and then went to the panel room again, because the fashion photo review panel was at 2:30, I think it was. It was either at 2 or at 2:30. But basically, because I had a VIP pass, it meant I got priority into the panel, so the general admission line was so long for it. It went all the way around and back down and up. So my friend had to get at the back of that whilst I joined the VIP queue that had like 15 people in it. But I told her I'd save, like, she was definitely going to get in. I just saved her a seat next to me, so it was fine. So the fashion photo review panel was with GGB and Cheryl. It was hilarious. They were tooting and booting the Drag Race UK Queens looks from when they started drag to when they were on Drag Race. It was hilarious. Cheryl came in and was outright like, I don't know why I'm on a fashion panel, but here we are. Wow Presents, if you're watching this by any chance, please give them their own series because it would be so funny. Yeah, so that was such a good panel to pick to go to. It was the only panel I'd intended on going to over the weekend until Nova and Olympia told us that they've been moderating the Wait What panel. So yeah, it was a great way. It was basically the last big thing that we did that day. When we came out of there, my friend had texted me to say that Camp Wanakiki had a booth there, which we'd walked past the day before because I really wanted one of their pins and so did one of my friends. But they didn't have the one that we wanted. They didn't bring it over. So he texted me and told me that they were having a massive sale on all of their merch, and if they still had one of these shirts left, could I pick it up for him? So I was like, yes. And they did. So I picked up another shirt for my friend. It just says Camp Queen on it. And that was the last big purchase we did of the day, I think. So as we were kind of walking around again, we went back upstairs to say bye to Nova and Olympia and Charmaine. Came back down. We had like half an hour left until it closed. So as we were walking out, we noticed that the Family Gorgeous booth, which is Cheddar Gorgeous, TT Bang, Lil and Licorice Black were there that weekend. There wasn't a big line for them. I'd wanted to meet them the day before. I've met them before because a lot of them are local queens to me. But their booth's always so cool. So I wanted to meet them the day before, but the line was too long for me to wait in because I had to go somewhere else. So when we saw that it wasn't too long, we decided to wait then. They didn't have a minimum to spend, but we got one of TT's stickers because they were just so cute, and got to meet them. So that was the last people that I met at DragCon, and it was a really good way to end because they were all so lovely. Yeah, so we left about 15 minutes before the end, and got an Uber back. I was dying because I'd been in heels for 2 days. So went back, picked up my luggage, and then left that night. When I got food because we hadn't basically eaten in 2 days. So my takeaway from DragCons were I really enjoyed it. I would definitely 100% do VIP again. I couldn't imagine having done that weekend without VIP, even though I'd never intended on getting it, because it really helped out in terms of queues. The extra hour at the start was a godsend. Like, I got so much done, especially on the Sunday. Yeah, so I hope this helps with kind of people knowing what to expect for things like minimums to meet queens, because a lot of people when they got in complained that they had to queue for queens and then pay to meet them, which they pay a lot to be at the convention, like they pay a lot for their booths. It's how they make their money back from it. Not getting into the convention is 100% an excuse to complain. Having to pay to meet queens I don't think is an excuse to complain, so hopefully if this information is more out there, people will understand the reason that DragCon themselves don't put it out there is because it's at the queen's discretion as to what they decide to do. Yeah, so I will insert any footage that I took over the weekend, which is not a lot. There's a bit of Vivian's performance, a bit of the Queen's Walk, and a bit of a couple of the panels in there, but other than that, yeah, I really hope this helped you, and if you go to DragCon in the future, I hope you enjoy it.
Don't get strung out by the way I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm not much of a man by the light of the day, but by night
You're right, babes. You're right.
Is that an accent?
I broke RuPaul when we were filming. Every day. You're right, babes. I'm like, God.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry.